सगळ्या पाहुण्यांचं मी मनापासून स्वागत करते. माझं नाव डॉक्टर मंजिरी ठाकूर. आज मराठी भाषा गौरव दिवस आहे म्हणून पहिलं वाक्य मी मराठीत बोलले. द प्रोग्राम इज गोइंग टू बी इन इंग्लिश. I warmly welcome one and all for this lovely evening at the Prince of Wales Museum. We have met for a very special occasion, and I'm going to tell you a story that takes every one of us 50 years back. Just completed his teens, a young lad, thin and tall, was climbing footsteps of Sir J.J. School of Art, the iconic institution of Asia. Not very short, and he found a painting hung on the walls of the staircases. The lad, so thin and frail, got so caught up by each and every layer of the painting that for a while he forgot his own identity. And that was the inspiration to have one legendary journey to begin to follow the another legend who had been at the end of the tunnel. Whom am I talking about? Well, I'm coming to it very slowly. But this man, that young boy, soon graduated from Sir J.J. School of Art. He began walking on the unknown path to track the legend Vasudev Santu Gaitonde. 50 years of his life he dedicated with his blood and sweat to pen down, to catch up every single moment Gaitonde probably lived and nobody really noticed. I'm talking about none other than Satish Naik. The man behind the curtain who always stayed like that forever. But it wasn't possible to have all of you here and to have this wonderful book with us if Satish had not done those efforts for 50 years. But what, in a whole, is Satish Naik and Gaitonde about? What was the journey like? It was almost like Dronacharya and Ekalavya, because Satish never met Gaitonde ever in his life. And honestly, he never even tried to make an attempt. It must have been a difficult journey for sure. So, yes, we are talking about legendary Vasudev Santu Gaitonde, one of India's finest modernists and someone who actually shaped and painted the new India, the modern Indian art. He was one of the painters who took Indian art much, much ahead of time. Having said that, I come up with a lovely quote by Campbell which says that pictures invite the eye not to rush along, but to rest for a while and dwell with them in enjoyment for their revelation. After this, there's a lovely sentence that comes by Dr. Harsha Daheja where he says, this revelation is subtle and available only to the inquiring mind, which was Satish. So his inquiring mind was ready to enter in all the layers of Gaitonde. It's not easy to track and trace somebody who is not in front of you. It's not easy to understand each and every layer of the painting that has no interpretation of its own, because Gaitonde never wanted to interpret his paintings. The journey of the English version of this book is a long story again. And when we began this, the first name, of course, in front of us was Shanta Gokhale. We waited for her time, and ma'am, thank you so much. We waited for her time. We allowed her energy to flow into all the possible dimensions. There was no way we could control on her at all. She was phenomenal. Another legend I really wanted to be part of this book was Pheroza Godrej. And I just requested, where we could do this together. And she was on board. The whole journey of being Gaitonde in this form of huge, humongous book was not easy. Because on every step of our journey, we encountered more than problems that we could count. The first problem was the language. The other problem was the pandemic, which put the whole project down for 2 years. Every single day we were getting up in hopes that we were doing Gaitonde and everything was pulling us back. But obviously the dreams come true. And when they come true, they become legend itself. So for a legend, from a legend, it was an endless journey. And as we see, the journey is between two mirrors. It's endless. We never thought the book would be completed in a given span of time. Obviously, we waited for it, and we continued to wait for a long period of time. This must have been a phenomenal journey for all of you to be curious about, but very shortly we're going to come to everything, every single thing that you all are waiting to hear from us. So here's what I'm going to hand over. But before that, I'm just going to quickly tell about the publications of Gaitonde from 2001. So Satish, for the first time, brought in the whole compilation of Gaitonde in a publication in Chinna in 2001. In 2006, the entire Marathi book was published. 2016 saw its Hindi version by Lalit Kala Academy. Believe it or not, there was one man behind this doing all the running around, who is Satish. And since 2016, yes, I think it deserves a round of applause. Because he's not going to talk about himself, and because nobody will know what his passionate following of your own idol is, I'm here to talk about him, and there are many people who are going to talk about Gaitonde. So yes, 2016 saw the Hindi translation of Gaitonde by Lalit Kala Academy. Again, it was a fantastic version. Ever since then, people all over the world who followed Gaitonde, who loved Gaitonde, who looked at Indian art only through the lens of V.S. Gaitonde, were constantly after Satish to have this publication in English. And today, we are actually there with the book. If I have to go, I might turn into tears, because this journey has been part of our every single breath in the last many years. We have walked with every single step, with every single word, with every single sigh that man must have left for us. So thank you so much for being here, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to hand over to Sandhya Gokhale, and she's going to take the dais ahead. Thank you so much.
Hello. नमस्कार. मराठी भाषा दिनाच्या शुभेच्छा. आज खरं तर पूर्ण कार्यक्रम मराठीत करणं अपेक्षित होतं, परंतु आपण इथे जमलेले सगळेच जण सर्वसमावेशकतेकडे झुकणारे असल्यामुळे इंग्लिश ही जागतिक व्यवहाराची भाषा असल्यामुळे आय थिंक आपण भाषेचा अपमान न मानता आपण यापुढे इंग्लिशमध्ये पूर्ण कार्यक्रम चालू ठेवूयात. कुणाला जर मराठीत बोलायचं असेल तर काही प्रश्न नाही वक्त्यांपैकी. Good evening. Distinguished guests and esteemed art lovers, thank you for joining us in this evening. Now that you're all seated, let's begin this wonderful celebration. The lovely melody that greeted us was, in fact, a piece by the renowned Austrian composer Franz Schubert. Now you may ask, why Schubert? Apart from its timeless beauty and elegance, we chose this music to complement this occasion because Gaitonde was in love with his compositions. Gaitonde, a pioneer of Indian abstractionism, was probably drawn to Schubert's lyrical yet unstructured melodies. Schubert's harmonic experimentation broke free from rigid representation. His sonatas focused more on emotional landscapes than concrete storytelling. Gaitonde's affinity for Schubert may have stemmed from these shared elements. Just one more similarity. Schubert never actually named his compositions. Gaitonde too left his paintings untitled. A sense of purpose and intentionality underpinned every aspect of Gaitonde's creative process. This book, Gaitonde Between Two Mirrors, being launched today, offers a collection of stories and anecdotes that shed light on Gaitonde's fascinating life journey. Besides, we have a distinguished panel of speakers who will also offer some great insights into Gaitonde's artistic legacy. I have a very difficult task to accommodate all these speakers in a given time frame. That's the reason why I chose to be speaking very minimally, and let's just proceed with the celebrations. Let's commence the proceedings by inviting our esteemed guests and dignitaries to join us on the stage. Our chief guest, Padma Bhushan Dr. Nandkishor Laud. Shri Prayag Shukla, Padma Shri Dr. Sarayu Doshi, Srimati Shanta Gokhale, Shri Amol Palekar, Srimati Pheroza Godrej, I think Kumar Ketkar will be coming slightly late, but he'll be joining us soon. Shri Ketan Kurani, come. And the team of art magazine Chinna, founder editor Shri Satish Naik, the associate editor Srimati Manjiri Thakur, Dr. Manjiri Thakur, and the executive editor Shri Vinil Burke. Please be seated. Let me invite Satish Naik, who is the catalyst behind this grand event. Satish is a versatile artist and media professional with over 4 decades of experience. Thanks to his tireless dedication, Chinna Publication has established itself as a leading and respected voice in the art world. Satish, can you please share your thoughts with us and let us know in great details as to how this journey began and where we have all landed.
Good evening. A very warm welcome to all who gathered for the launch of Gaitonde's book. Today's event has come about only because of art collector Ketan Karani and his wife Trupti Karani. Mr. Ketan Karani read the Marathi Gaitonde book and I publish in 2016 with very keen interest during the lockdown. And after that, he insists that I publish this book in English. He persuaded me for almost 3 to 4 years, but I had been consistently refusing him. I wondered how to take on such a big responsibility at this age. But as Gaitonde's birth centenary year approached, Mr. Karani caught me in the crossfire. He said that 2024 being an election year, Gaitonde's birth centenary year will definitely not be celebrated by government. So you only publish this book in English through Chinna. I will take all financial responsibility for it. He was of the opinion that if Gaitonde's life story is published in English, it will reach a global audience, so it was impossible for me to refuse him. That is why we are gathered here today. I have been supported in these endeavors for the past 2 or 3 years by Manjiri Thakur, Vinil Burke, young designer Neil Daftardar, and my wife Neeta, who stood by my steadfastly. Shanta Gokhale helped in translating Gaitonde book in very short time, was also valuable. I would like to thank all of them here. For today's program, we had planned to invite Mamta Saran, who supported Gaitonde till the end. But unfortunately, she passed away in the second week of January this year. Let us all stand for 2 minutes and pay tribute to her. Okay. Once again, I express my heartfelt gratitude to everyone. Like you, I'm also eager to listen to the speeches of invited speakers. Thank you very much.
What an enduring commitment, Satish. Splendid. Thank you for giving us this treat in the form of this book. It's translated in English by Shanta Gokhale, and it's published by Chinna Prakashan. Its regular price is going to be 12,600. However, today, as a special event, the book is available at a discounted rate of 7,500. Please avail of this facility. May I appeal to all the dignitaries on the stage to release the book? It's time to recognize this outstanding achievement. Let's give a hearty applause. I'll appeal to all of you to show your support for the arts by buying the book and being part of this cultural milestone. Let's celebrate this momentous occasion with yet one round of applause once again. थोडंसं जवळ येऊयात थोडंसं पुढे या नाही नाही या ना जवळ या ना We have with us Padma Bhushan recipient Dr. Nandkishor Laud, a distinguished orthopedic surgeon. Gaitonde had a serious accident in New Delhi, after which he could not paint for almost 9 years. When he visited Dr. Laud in Mumbai, Gaitonde was given, I'm told, a 15 days treatment consisting of various therapies. After 9 years of solitude and no artistic pursuit in between, he started painting again. A wooden stick gifted by Dr. Laud to Gaitonde became a powerful symbol of his artistic resurgence. Doctor, please share your experience with us.
नमस्कार शांताजी गोखले म्हणाल्या तशा मराठी भाषेच्या शुभेच्छा आणि त्यांनी म्हटल्याप्रमाणे इंग्रजी जागतिक भाषा असल्यामुळे वी मस्ट हॅव अ ग्लोबल व्ह्यू नॉट इन टॉक्स बट इन ॲक्शन अँड आय थिंक दॅट्स बट राईट दॅट इज वर्क इज गिवन टू ऑल अँड सन्ड्री to understand. Mr. Satish Naik, when he met me, I was very happy to meet a person like him. But he got me into difficulty because when he said that I must attend this function to be a chief guest. When I entered this, it was a very beautiful venue. And the reception was really very, very nice. But when I met the dignity of the dais, I felt this is one of the momentous days in my life. I might have attended a lot of national and international conferences, but never attended a function and shared a dais with such eminent personalities who are not only recognized in India but all over the world. When they asked me about my experience with him, it was way back, 45, early 70s. And I'm in the 9th decade of my life, so I had to make stress to understand. But I did remember that Dr. Srikande, who was an eminent surgeon, Mr. Gaitonde was admitted in his clinic, and he being a general surgeon, and his problem was that he had a deformity in the neck. He had a pain when he had a deformity. So being an orthopedic surgeon, I was called to see him. He had an accident before, but that probably was not the cause. The cause was his occupation. And that's what is happening to all the artists and also the artists and painters, because they continue to work in particular position. And I noticed that probably it involved his nerves. and he had difficulty in walking as well as painting. So naturally, two things I observed, and two things I feel proud to be, that he was a Goan and I'm also a Goan. So he started speaking to me in Konkani. Unfortunately, I understood him, but I could converse with him because I lived in Indore. Second thing which I saw was, this patient was something different. Many times you get an instinct as a doctor, if you really think about it, that this is something different. Different in his approach, different in his life. So we gave him two things, pain relief and second part physiotherapy. The most important part was art of communication, which is sadly missing today in my fraternity. People have no time. For a patient to be happy, doctor must spend time. Maybe one time, but spend that time one time. And I feel, as I look back, I was not very busy that time, so I did spend time with him. It had the result. I was told that he recovered. Satish Naik said that he started painting again. And I know the problem with the artist is, once they get better, they don't like follow-up. And doctor's success is on follow-up. But I was very glad and felt satisfied my profession that I could do something for a man who achieved so much in the world, gave so much to the world through his paintings. Unfortunate, and that's what happens, the man is recognized after he goes away. So my little experience was that these are different people. But these people have not to be treated differently, but have to be evenly with a single goal, that can I achieve something to send the patient back to his profession, cured, and able to do what he did again. To some extent, I'm glad that I could achieve that. That's what I'm told. I'm honored and pleased that I was called this function. And I would never forget this event in my life, that I shared a dais with so many eminent personalities. Thank you very much.
We all are very grateful to you, Doctor. I'm told that he's going to stay for a while. Okay. He has to leave soon, but for a while he's going to be with us. Cézanne had once said, the most important thing in art is the thing that cannot be explained. And that is precisely what the patron of the arts enables the artist to achieve. Please join me in welcoming the generous patron who has made this project possible and who has been a devoted patron of Gaitonde's artistic legacy for many years, Shri Ketan Karani. Please share your passion as an art collector and your association with Chinna publication.
Namaste, good evening, and a very warm welcome to everyone here today. First and foremost, I want to express my deepest gratitude to Satish Naik sir, who has been more than a mentor. He has been a guiding force. His wisdom, kindness, and unwavering support have played a pivotal role in shaping this project. For years, we have hoped to see this work published in English, making it accessible to readers around the world. And today, that dream stands fulfilled. This book is not just a collection of words and pages. It's a journey, a tribute, and a labor of love. It has been an incredible experience to witness and be a part of the process that brought this vision to life. Satish sir and his entire team, most of the people here and on the side of the dais also, have been instrumental, tirelessly working to create what has been just released today. And we are extremely thankful to Satish sir for giving this almost 50 years, more than 50 years of his life to this project itself alone. I also want to take this moment to thank my family, my wife Trupti, who has always been my pillar of strength and a source of inspiration, and my children, whose support and encouragement have been invaluable throughout this journey. Their belief in this project has given me the motivation to see it through. Their support reminds us why we do what we do. The reason why we do what we do is that to preserve, celebrate, and share the legacy of art, culture, and knowledge with future generations. Lastly, nothing would have been possible without the divine guidance and blessings of Ganpati Bappa and Kuldevi Mataji. Their presence has given us the spirit, inspiration, and determination to see this difficult but most important project of my lifetime through. This book is more than just a publication. It's a step forward towards preserving our rich heritage, ensuring that art, history, and knowledge continue to find their rightful place in the world. Thank you all for being here on this special occasion. Let's celebrate this milestone together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And thank you, madam, also. Actually, you should have been on the dais as well. Now let me invite Srimati Dr. Sarayu Doshi, a Padma Shri recipient who is an Indian art scholar, an art historian, and a curator. She is the founder director of the National Gallery of Modern Art, Mumbai. She's authored several books and is considered an authority in Indian miniature paintings and Jain art. She was, in fact, a part of the, what we can say, a Renaissance period in the Indian culture in Mumbai, the Bulabai Desai days. I'm sure we would love to get the information from her.
Thank you. Sorry. Thank you all very much for inviting me and for me to be here. It's really a great honor, and I am very deeply touched by the gesture of being here and being with all of you to celebrate one of our greatest Indian artists, Gaitonde. This celebration is in the form of a book that Mr. Satish Naik has put together. He has worked extremely hard in getting as much information as he could about this artist. He was an elusive artist. He was a recluse. He was not very easy to meet, the artist. But he has made every effort. And the strange part of it is that he never met the artist, Satish. How sad that is, because he was your hero. He was a person you had looked up to. He was the one who had inspired you. And without him, you have been able to produce this magnificent volume that celebrates his life and his work. We know from information in the book that Gaitonde was born in 1924 in Nagpur, and soon his family moved to Bombay, and they lived in the area near the Majestic Cinema in Girgaon. His father was employed in the cinema theaters, and the family lived in a chawl nearby, which was the usual way in a lot of way Maharashtrian families lived. And it was a community together. It was being in a place where you have same thoughts, same cultural background, and it was a very nice way to live. But somehow Gaitonde himself, as we should call him Vasudeva, was not happy at all. He was a loner, and his family, he never really got along with his father. His father was very strict. He had very firm ideas of what Gaitonde should do, which were quite opposite to what Gaitonde wanted to do, which was go into the School of Art. Finally, it came to a point where he was thrashed by his father, and Gaitonde, cut off all relationship with his family. He lived there. But look at this young man, that he could completely ignore his family. He was a person with a very strong mind, with a certain goal in his mind, and unstintingly following that. So the young man, after graduation, joined the School of Art against his father's wishes, and no communication with his family, though he lived there. And he was happy there. He found people with similar ideas. He found people who could empathize with him, with whom he could have discussions. And with him was Mr. Shankar Palsikar, one of our leading artists, even today. He was a friend of his, so was Mr. Dhond. And they had in their professors people like Mr. Dhupeshwarkar, who were renowned artists. So it was an atmosphere in which he flourished, in an atmosphere where he started to look at art in different ways. One of the things he did was he started looking at Indian miniature paintings. He was intrigued in this school of academic realism, where they were learning the way the Westerners looked at art. He looked at Indian miniature painting. He saw the colors and the way in which the colors were applied, which was done in flat surfaces. There was no dimension in it, and the line was cursive and expressive. And to him, this was another way of expressing yourself. It didn't really have to be naturalistic or realistic. And he did some very fine drawings at that time. Actually, one of the murals at the School of Art showed his painting in it, and I believe it is still there, and really magnificent work. But somehow he was, trying various things, and one of the greatest influences that occurred at that time, by that time I mean the 1940s, when when the war was going on. At that time, just prior to the war, 3 important persons left Germany and came to India. These were Germans, and they were Jewish, and they foresaw that probably the war will lead into persecution of the Jews, so they fled there. They came here and they found a very good position in Bombay at the Times of India. Mr. Langhammer was the art director, and then one of them was an art critic, and the third was an art collector. So when they were living in Bombay, they got in touch with some of the younger artists. And these younger artists were fired by a spirit to do Indian art. Why don't we have an Indian art of our own? And that partly that was due to the fact that as a celebration of Indian independence, the London Museum had sent many masterpieces of Indian art to Delhi. That exhibition had a profound influence on Hussein and on Souza, and also Raza, these three people who were leading proponents of the the progressive artist group. So they, and with these foreigners, they all sat, they would discuss many things. And I think Gaitonde was there with them because he sort of grasped that there was a German artist, there were German artists who called themselves expressionists. And they did not want to do naturalistic art. They wanted to do what the inner feelings were. They wanted to show it through that. And that was also influenced by philosophical thought at that time, also psychological writings of Sigmund Freud. And these things led to a different style of expressionism. And Gaitonde was influenced by this. And in those artists in Germany was Paul Klee. And Paul Klee had a decided influence on young Gaitonde because his work was sort of inspired by what Paul Klee did. Later on, as we see that Gaitonde won a prize in Japan, he got interested in Zen philosophy, Zen Buddhism. Also in India, he became a student of Krishnamurti. So he was gradually being attracted towards philosophy and thinking of those abstract thoughts. And his work began to show that. And we find that he was able to produce some beautiful works. And many of these have been reproduced in this marvelous volume over here. Satish has put together so much material. I am not surprised it took him many years to do that, but what a grand effort and what a wonderful contribution towards this. And today, when we see the paintings, we know this painting is the artist and the artist is the painting. So we thank you all for coming here today to see and celebrate Gaitonde's work and to celebrate the great effort by Chinna Publications to bring out this marvelous volume. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this wonderful overview of this era and the journey, artistic journey. Now let us welcome yet another art historian and a patron, Dr. Pheroza Godrej. Her foreword to this book is a very heartfelt and poignant tribute. She writes, Gaitonde moved away from figuration and traditional landscape paintings to fashioning mode and atmosphere through a restrained use of lines, color, light, and dark tones. India has a great tradition of art and artists, yet abstraction of a minimalist kind has been quite elusive, with only a few artists like Gaitonde and Nasreen Mohammadi who mastered silence and depth in their work. Ma'am, please share your thoughts.
What can one say about, like Satish? I had never personally met Gaitonde, but one had seen him literally lurking as a young man in the Bhulabhai Institute at Bhulabhai Desai Road. And then later on, as I grew older and started coming to the Jahangir Art Gallery, I saw him there as well. He was a sad and lonely man, I remember.
And at that time, there was a gentleman by the name of Soli Batliwala, who was connected with the Bhulabhai Memorial Institute, and he was also connected as an honorary secretary of the Jahangir Art Gallery. We referred to him as Soli Mama. He liked all of us to call him Soli Mama. And I asked him I said, "Who is that gentleman?" He said, "That's Guy." I said, "What is it why doesn't he talk to any of us? Hussein talks, Akbar talks, Ara talks all the time." He said he's involved and enraptured with art and in his own mind. Satish has eloquently spoken, so has Sarayu, so has Dr. Laud as his physician and surgeon. I have very little to add, and it's there for you to read. When Dr. Manjiri Thakur approached me for the foreword, the Marathi book was already out, and it would have been impossible for me to read every word. But one could get the gist of it. Being in Maharashtra, we speak Marathi, very bad Marathi, and we can read it and write it. But I was really delighted when Manjiri and Satish mentioned Shanta Gokhale is going to undertake the publication. And my first thought was, because Shanta and I have worked together at the NGMA, she's a lady of few words. And I said, she'll do a very good job, but please, she needs time. This is a magnificent volume. And what Satish has delivered today, I think, is a 5.5 pound baby. It really is. It'll grace many libraries, and because it's now available in Marathi and Hindi, this will really go out to the world. This will be able to reach many, many libraries and many, many homes and many, many collectors and students of art. It is the lingua of the world, and it'll be greatly appreciated. It's not easy to do a publication of a man who hardly spoke. And his work speaks for itself. We mentioned Paul Klee. It's so true. He really must have admired him. And the reference to Ave Maria, I'd forgotten. I was wondering why this music, this very European classical music, was being played. And of course, it was his love for Schubert. And his companion in his Delhi years was really music and records. And it was hard to meet him, I'm told. And of course, this terrible pain that he was in all his life. It was unfortunate that we here are today his extended legacy for artists who really loved Gaitonde. He was one of the early artists after independence, not connected with the Bengal school, who signed his name in English and in Devanagari. And that signature of his is so iconic and so clear and with such a firm hand that there is no mistaking a Gaitonde signature in either English or in Devanagari. I don't know what he would have thought of his prices and where they have reached today in the international market. The early auctions who started projecting him had real foresight, commercial foresight. But most artists of his generation really struggled. Gaitonde struggled on two counts: his family and the commercial aspect. But he never gave up. None of them gave up. None of them. And in the last year and this year, we celebrate 3 centenaries. Sousa, who is no more, who is also what we commonly call the progressive group. Gaitonde, who is no more. And the Kishan Khanna, who turned 100 last year, and he's still with us. He joined the progressives a little later, after having a very successful banking career. And there was one man who promoted all of them. He ran a gallery called Gallery 59. It was named 59 because it was established in 59, and that too had a Bhulabhai Memorial Institute beginning. That institute really nurtured artists and musicians. Ravi Shankar was there as well. And it doesn't exist anymore. I think we need to capture the Bombay of that time and how open people were to art and culture and music, and more importantly, our own Indian culture, because we had attained independence in 47 and Gallery 59 came up a few years later. Bal was also a painter. There was just the Jahangir Art Gallery where one could exhibit, and the Artist Center, which used to be in the lane behind here at Rampart Row. So keeping all these things in mind, you should I've tried many times to capture that Bombay. It was a nice city. It still is a nice city. It's a city with a very, very big heart. And what we have today is a generosity, the dedication, and the wonderment that one man decided 50 years ago to write about a hero whose painting he had just seen on the staircase of the JJ School of Art. I think that single-minded devotion is what Gaitonde had, a totally single-minded devotion to his art. And we are most grateful to Meera Saran for having looked after him in the later stage of his life, because it was very hard for him to communicate. It was very hard. I think Lakshman Shrestha was the last artist who made it a point of going and seeing Gaitonde in Delhi. I wish I had known him. I don't know whether I'd call him a hero, because he just never communicated. But I think to contemporary artists, there are so many in our midst today, Koltesa, Sudhir Patwardhan, I'm just naming a few, who really, really looked up to Gaitonde and all the progressives, but especially Gaitonde, because he had an inimitable style of his own. And it was something that he carved for himself. And the honors that came to him as late as 2014, a Gaitonde painting was requested for from the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. Dr. Sandini Poddar curated the show. And I'm really happy that the government of India, the Ministry of Culture, National Gallery of Modern Art, allowed this painting to travel to New York as part of a very large retrospective on Gaitonde. So he's respected, cherished, loved, talked about all over the world. And I think this contribution of this book by Chinna Publications will go a long way. I really urge you to buy this book. It'll give you an idea of the man we've come to celebrate today. Thank you very, very much.
Wow. Truly warm, heartfelt speech. And yes, we're really lucky that we are witnessing the seamless delivery of this 5.5 pounds baby. Truly lucky. Translation is the bridge that connects cultures and literatures across the globe. Translators play a vital role in facilitating literary and cultural exchange globally, making classics accessible to a broader audience through English translations. Thanks to Srimati Shanta Gokhale for her meticulous translation of this book that was originally written in Marathi. Now the book is going to reach the international audience. She's a celebrated novelist with a distinguished career and has won several awards. I don't think we need to have any further introduction for her. Please share.
Good evening. I'm rather feeling out of place here because translators' place is quite rightly behind the scenes. But Satish Naik and Manjiri Thakur have together decided to throw me onto this stage, and here I am to talk about how or why I translated Gaitonde. Like everyone else, I too had not met Gaitonde. I had seen some of his works in reproduction, which is not really the same thing. I had, however, read two deeply emotional essays about him written by a relative who was a regular visitor to the Gaitonde home. And I was truly intrigued by the family relationships that emerged from these two essays. And instantly, during that reading, as happens to people who are creative writers, playwrights, whatever, a film script began to take shape in my mind. And it is still there, augmented by the material that came to me through this book. By and large, or I would say always, I've only translated things that I love. I have to love a book to translate it. I had really no immediate love for a book on Gaitonde. When Manjiri Thakur came to see me, she was very clever. She began by saying, we would like very much if you translated this. But of course, we know how busy you are and we understand, etc. And after this opening gambit, she then began to talk about the kind of work that had gone into the making of this book. And she began to talk about the part that she had played in it. And soon and quite imperceptibly, she drew the book out of its box and gently pushed it towards me on the table. Now, as with all book lovers, if you see a good-looking, a truly handsome book before you, you cannot resist the urge to start turning the pages, which I did. And I didn't stop turning those pages till I came to the proliferation of reproductions and photographs. And suddenly I thought, my God, but this is such a beautiful book. And before I could check myself, I said to Manjiri, okay, I'm doing this. And from then on, for the next 6 months, I was immersed in Gaitonde. Various books that I have translated have presented different kinds of challenges. This book presented its own kind of challenge, which was that it was a book of multiple voices and multiple forms of writing. One got the impression of an entire personality being shaped through these different approaches. There were family and friends, colleagues and associates, fellow artists, all of them writing about how they had seen Gaitonde. And of course, I instantly thought of the famous elephant story of someone who catches hold of the tail, someone who catches hold of the trunk, and someone who touches the flanks. And for us, an elephant is born. And so it was that Gaitonde was formed for me out of all these different approaches. And I really have to thank both Satish Naik, who, by the way, I had never met. He was like a myth for me. I said to Manjiri, like, what is he? Does he kind of exist? And she said, yeah, he does, very much so. So I have to thank Satish Naik and Manjiri for giving me the opportunity to spend 6 glorious months with this wonderful artist, Vasudev Gaitonde. Thank you.
I recently read one of your interviews wherein you had mentioned how difficult it was to translate the emotional nuances in English. But it's a really great translation. Thank you so much. Let's invite Shri Prayag Shukla, who is a well-known Hindi poet and fiction writer. He's an art critic and a curator as well. He has been writing on arts for last 5 decades in Hindi as well as in English. Sir, please speak on the legacy of Gaitonde's art and please share your views on him.
आप सबको मेरा नमस्कार। कितनी सुंदर शाम है, मैं क्या बताऊं। ऐसी सभा मैंने बहुत कम देखी है जहां सड़क की आवाज़ें हों और वो सुनाई न पड़ रही हों। हम इतना डूब गए हैं गायतोंडे जी की याद में, इस किताब की याद में भी और आगे भी डूबेंगे। आज सुबह मैं यहाँ पहले कभी गया नहीं था। ये बे व्यू मैरीना गार्डन में सुबह टहल रहा था। मैं रोज़ सैर करता हूँ करीब 1.5-2 किलोमीटर, बहुत गायतोंडे की बहुत याद आ रही थी, क्योंकि सुना है, राम कुमार जी से भी सुना है कि वो समुद्र की ओर देखा करते थे, और उनकी एक कहानी भी है राम कुमार की, जो हम लोगों को मालूम है कि वो गायतोंडे पर है, और इसकी याद भी कर रहा था। मैं गायतोंडे की याद से ही शुरू करूंगा। गायतोंडे के दरवाजे मेरे लिए राम कुमार जी ने के कारण खुले। आप जानते हो कि राम कुमार उनके ऐसे गहरे मित्र थे, वो हमने निकट से देखा है। वो ऐसी बॉन्डिंग थी कि वो दो लोग बैठे हुए तो उनको देखकर आप खुश हो जाते थे। बहुतों को मालूम है, प्रभाकर कुलते जी यहाँ बैठे हैं, अभी एक फिल्म में उन्होंने इस घटना को याद भी किया है कि वो गायतोंडे से मिलने गए और तभी राम कुमार जी के यहाँ से उनका खाना आया था। दोपहर का खाना राम कुमार जी के यहाँ से आता था। मुझे थोड़ा सा अपने बारे में बताना पड़ेगा कि मैं गायतोंडे तक आऊँ। 1963, आई एम 23 और मैं कल्पना नाम की बड़ी पत्रिका में हिंदी की पहुंचता हूं हैदराबाद। बद्री विशाल पित्ती आप में से बहुत तेरे जानते होंगे, हुसैन के पहले पैट्रन, बाद में इतनी दोस्ती उनकी रही। देयर आई मेट हुसैन। फिर एक दिन मुझे लगा कि मैं यहाँ बैठा क्या कर रहा हूँ, आई एम यंग, और सारे दोस्त मेरे लिख रहे हैं कि हमने अलकाजी का नाटक देखा, हमने रविशंकर को सुना, हमने हुसैन की प्रदर्शनी देखी, हमने कृष्णा सोबती से हम मिले, राम कुमार जी से मिले, निर्मल वर्मा से मिले। तो एक दिन मैं बहुत बेचैन होकर के वहाँ से दिल्ली मैंने छोड़ दी, ये हैदराबाद छोड़ दिया। राम कुमार जी न्यू मैं एज ए शॉर्ट स्टोरी राइटर। मेरा जन्म कलकत्ते का है, वहीं बड़ा हुआ हूँ, वहीं पढ़ाई लिखाई हुई है। तो राम कुमार जी केम टू कैलकाटा, दैट वाज 1962, और उन्होंने मुझे एक चिट्ठी लिखी कि तुम अगर मुझसे मिल सको तो ये यहाँ मैं ठहर रहा हूँ, मुझे मिलना। आई वॉज 22 एंड सो थ्रिल्ड, राम कुमार जी हमको लिख रहे हैं कि हमसे मिलो। बहरहाल आगे की कहानी सिर्फ इतनी है कि मैं दिल्ली आता हूँ, फ्रीलांसर हूँ, मेरे पास रहने की जगह नहीं है। राम कुमार जी कहते हैं जब तक कमरा नहीं मिल जाता तुम मेरे स्टूडियो में रहो। 3 महीने उनके स्टूडियो में रहता हूँ। फिर गायतोंडे, तैयब, नसरीन, कृष्ण खन्ना, हुसैन से तो मिल चुका था, धीरे धीरे सबसे मिलता हूँ। अब देखिए, गायतोंडे एक ऐसा व्यक्ति और ऐसा कलाकार जिसके सामने होने का जो अनुभव मेरा है वो विलक्षण व्यक्ति का के सामने आप हो ऐसा लगता था। आप उनके काम के सामने खड़े होते हो तो लगता है बहुत विलक्षण काम के सामने खड़े हो, जैसा कि बहुत लोगों ने याद किया है और करेंगे। अब वो क्या भाषा है? संकेतों की भाषा है, जो मनुष्य ने आदिम काल से वो भाषा जानी थी। लिपियाँ और लैंग्वेजेस तो बात की चीज़ है। सारा जीवन, शुरू के काम छोड़ दीजिए, इस किताब में है कि उनके स्कूल डेज की ड्राइंग है, अजंता की कॉपी है, बहुत डेलिकेट, बहुत सुंदर। गायतोंडे के बारे में मुझे सबसे बड़ी बात ये लगती है कि आप किसी ऐसी चीज़ के सामने हैं जो बहुत निर्मल है, जो बहुत सौंदर्यमयी है। अब देखिए उनकी सारी पेंटिंग्स में आपको क्या मिलता है? संकेत, चिन्ह। चिन्ह की बात भी आ गई, चिन्ह तो इसका आयोजक है। चिन्हों से भरी पड़ी है गायतोंडे की पेंटिंग्स। रंग है, उनको आप फॉर्म भी नहीं कह सकते, वो साइंस ही हैं, वो चिन्ह ही हैं जिनके थ्रू गायतोंडे अपनी बात कहते थे। सच पूछिए तो जितना मैंने उनको जाना, वो चिन्हों उनके व्यक्तित्व में भी ये था वो चिन्हों के जरिए ही अपनी बात करते थे, जेस्चर्स के जरिए, बहुत कम बोलते थे। और एक दिन की बात तो याद है, मैंने मिड 60s 75-76 की बात होगी, मैंने राम कुमार जी से एक दिन कहा कि आप मेरे लिए इनको कह दो गायतोंडे जी से कि प्रयाग आपसे इंटरव्यू करना चाहता है। राम कुमार जी कुर्सी में ऐसे बैठे हुए थे टिक करके, वो ऐसे हो गए, बोले गाय का इंटरव्यू? उनको एक तो उनको लगा कि ये 26-27 साल का ये व्यक्ति है और अभी इसने कला पर देखना शुरू किया, थोड़ा लिखना शुरू किया है, ये गाय का इंटरव्यू करेगा? मैंने कहा राम कुमार जी चाहता तो हूँ, तब मैं दिनमान में लिखता था, 10 साल वो कॉलम लिखा, उसने मेरा जीवन बदला है। तो बहरहाल मैं पहुंचा गाय के पास। वो लोग सब लोग गाय कहते थे, राम कुमार जी, हुसैन, सब गायतोंडे को गाय कहकर ही बुलाते थे। तो 10 मिनट, पूरे 10 मिनट की चुप्पी। मेरी समझ में ना आया कि मैं क्या कहूँ उनसे, क्योंकि उन भाव ऐसा था, ठीक है आप आ गए हो, एक गिलास पानी उन्होंने दिया, वो मैंने थोड़ा सा पिया, फिर मैं बैठ गया। सडनली मुझे सूझा कि गायतोंडे फिल्में बहुत देखते थे, संगीत और आईआईसी में, इंडिया इंटरनेशनल सेंटर में गायतोंडे वर्ल्ड सिनेमा की किसी अच्छी फिल्म को नहीं छोड़ते थे। मैं भी जाया करता था। तो अब उस फिल्म का नाम भूल गया हूँ, लेकिन एक चीज़ सूझी कि मैं गायतोंडे जी से ये पूछता हूँ कि फिल्म आपको कैसी लगी थी। वो एकदम थोड़ा खुले, बोले तुमने देखी थी वो फिल्म? मैंने कहा मैंने देखी थी। हमारी बातचीत शुरू हो गई। वो इंटरव्यू छपा है दिनमान में, उस मेरे रिकॉर्डेड है, दर्ज है वो। ऐसी तमाम यादें हैं उनके साथ रहने की। और अब मैं बोलता न चला जाऊं, इसलिए एक और घटना से अपनी बात समाप्त करूंगा। वो आज बहुत याद आ रही हो घटना। सूजा दिल्ली आए हुए थे और उनको ये सूझा कि गायतोंडे का जन्म दिन पड़ा था बीच में, कि हम गायतोंडे का जन्मदिन मनाते हैं। तो धूमीमल गैलरी के रवि जैन से उन्होंने कहा कि ऐसा कुछ प्रबंध कर दो। तो एक होटल के कमरे में एक पार्टी जैसी हुई, दोपहर का समय था। तो सूजा कुछ बोले। अब जैसा कि होता था उन दिनों और आजकल भी होता ही है कि कलाकार कोई, उन दिनों तो बहुत धुआं भर जाता था। अब उतनी सिगरेट लोग नहीं पीते कलाकार लोग, गैलरीज की मुझे याद है कि धुआं भर जाता था और ड्रिंक भी लोग कर रहे थे, बातें भी कर रहे थे, और ये खाने पीने जैसा एक माहौल था। तो सूजा कुछ बोले, फिर बोले मुझसे, बोले प्रयाग विल ऑल्सो से समथिंग। मैंने मना कर दिया। मैंने मना कर दिया कि गायतोंडे पर इस माहौल पर बोलूँगा। ये अवसर मुझे मिलना था कि मैं यहाँ आकर अपनी बात साझा करूं। उस दिन मैं नहीं बोला। उसको सूजा से मेरी बोलचाल बंद हो गई थी, बहुत दिनों तक बंद रही। वो बहुत नाराज़ हो गए थे। उन्होंने कहा था, लुक हियर इज़ एन आर्ट क्रिटिक हु डज़ नॉट हैव ए सिंगल वर्ड फॉर गायतोंडे। जबकि गायतोंडे भी मुझे जानते थे, ऐसी बात नहीं थी। बहरहाल उस घटना की आज याद आई। राम कुमार और गायतोंडे और ये पूरे सारे लोग जिनको निकट से देखा है, हुसैन, तैयब, सूया, राम कुमार, गायतोंडे, पर राम कुमार और गायतोंडे, ऐसा मैं समझता हूँ कि कभी कभी शायद होता है कि दो कलाकार और दो व्यक्ति इतना अंतरंग हो जाएं, इतना आत्मीय हो जाएं। अब उसके क्या कारण थे तो आप हम में से कोई नहीं जानता। ये ऐसी दोस्तियाँ बनती कैसे हैं। राम कुमार शिमला में जन्मे, गायतोंडे महाराष्ट्र के। पर उसको देखा है कि विमला जी, राम कुमार जी की पत्नी, और गायतोंडे और राम कुमार। मेरी उनसे अक्सर भेंट राम कुमार जी के यहाँ हुई थी, क्योंकि राम कुमार जी के यहाँ तो मैं जाता ही रहता था। आप सबका बहुत आभार। कहने को भी और भी कुछ है, पर मैं खुद सुनना चाहता हूँ बहुत से लोगों को। अभी अमोल बोलेंगे और लोग हैं। आप सबका आभार, और सतीश नाइक जी का बहुत आभार कि उन्होंने मुझे अवसर दिया चिन्ह ने। कि मैं दिल्ली से यहाँ आ सका और आप सबके साथ हो सका, होना बहुत बड़ी चीज़ है। बोलने से भी, बात करने से भी अधिक चीज़ जब होना, तो आप सब हो, मैं हूँ, ये सुंदर शाम है, ये पीछे का इतना सुंदर बैकग्राउंड है म्यूज़ियम का, जहाँ बहुत बार आया हूँ, आज एक नई तरह से आया हूँ। आप सबका आभार।
Thank you so much for sharing your really warm and personal bond with us. Very often we notice that artists truly grasp the essence of art. There are so many ace artists like Lakshman Shrestha, Prabhakar Kolteji, who have written their views in this particular book about style and form in Gaitonde's work. We have yet another artist with us whose body of work in the visual arts often gets overshadowed by his fame and acclaim in the fields of theatre and cinema. Let's welcome Shrit Amol Palekar, who had the fortune to meet and interact with Gaitonde.
As I always say, being my wife is the least of her qualification. Thank you, Sandhya, for uttering those kind words about me. आणखी एक, माझ्यापेक्षा अनेक ज्येष्ठ, वयानीच नव्हे तर कर्तृत्वानी असे लोक आत्ता जे आपल्याबरोबर संवाद साधून गेले, त्यांच्यामध्ये जी एक क्लॅरिटी आहे, माझ्या वाढत्या वयानुसार मला कबूल करायला पाहिजे की ती माझ्याकडे आता कमी होत चालली आहे. म्हणजे बोलता बोलता घरंगळत जाणं हे खूप सहजी होतं माझ्याकडून. तसं होऊ नये म्हणून मी मला जे म्हणायचे ते लिहून काढलंय आणि आय विल शेअर दॅट विथ यू. So, distinguished dignitaries on the stage and my art lover friends. Firstly, let me congratulate Satish and his brilliant team from Chinna for this wonderful book. Thank you all who have unfolded different layers of Gaitonde through their respective articles in the book. Thank you, Shanta, for your lovely translation. The print quality is outstanding, capturing the nuances of Gaitonde's art with stunning color accuracy and tonal depth. It's a great pleasure that we all ought to possess, if not Gaitonde's paintings, at least through this book. Considering the time constraint, I'm going to briefly unravel a few folds in Gaitonde's legacy through his own conversations. Let me begin by quoting one of his rare interviews, which is reproduced in this publication. He says, "I was by nature aloof, reticent, and solitary. None of us in the group had deliberate plans to evolve an Indian style. I possessed no philosophy of art, no preset mold or style. How did it matter that modern Indian art had no roots in tradition. My approach was very different from my friends. I felt no need to explain why I was and what I was. This is why Paul Klee, Indian Miniatures, and Zen did not keep me bound. In fact, I went beyond them. I was at a liberty to move where I please in this abstract space. I had a sense of immense freedom. My painting did not become a slave to my style. Instead, my art and style complemented each other. My paintings are not polychromatic, they are monochromatic. There is one dominant color which dictates what the others should be. If I begin with green, the color begins to reveal its nature gradually during the process of painting. Other colors might enter later, but they too are there in search of that green. I think these words succinctly summarize the heart and underlying spirit of Gaitonde's work. All through his life, he yearned to achieve a state of trance for his art. Many have reiterated that Gaitonde would sit glaring at the sea for hours, or he was always lost in contemplation. Even after his accident, he spent almost 9 years gazing at a blank canvas. His pursuit, especially in his later stage, was spiritual. He would say, it's not I who paint. The painting happens. It happens through me. In that sense, every painting is a self-portrait. He probably meant that once you have understood what you see is illusory, then the idea that you have done something also proves to be an illusion. So to me, the title of this book could have been Gaitonde Between the Illusions. Yet, the present title, Gaitonde Between Two Mirrors, is very apt. In one of the dialogues he had with his guru, he mentioned that the painting is in painter's mind. The painter is in his painting. And that again is a painting. It's an endless process. Is this not standing between two mirrors and watching the long lines forming on both sides? I knew Gaitonde right from my JJ School of Art days. His sister was in my class, though for a very brief period. Gaitonde never taught me any subject, but when he visited my 4th solo show at the Taj Art Gallery, it was a highlight. Typically, he reserved his comments on others' paintings. One of his students has mentioned an incident when he repeatedly asked for Gaitonde's opinion. Gaitonde said, "The paintings will sell, but there is no energy in them." Considering this background of his brutal frankness, you can imagine my panic state when he arrived at my show. When I went to greet and accompany him, he asked me to leave him alone. As he gazed at every artwork, I sensed deep absorption, as if he was fully immersed in the experience. Later, he summoned me to a particular painting, saying, "I like this one. It's lively." His words have stayed with me to this day. Another memory that stands out is Gaitonde's thoughtful comment on my play Gochi, which we performed at Sarayu and Vinod Bhai Doshi's residence, which a gathering of esteemed guests from diverse background. Gaitonde praised my directorial pursuit by saying, "Oh, I'm glad that the painter in you is still alive." Such moments are my treasured possessions, and hence I consider myself very rich. Apart from his fascination for abstraction, another aspect that resonates with me is his nonconformity towards the commercial world. He constantly advised his students not to go after money. Paint for the joy of it, he would insist. Despite facing financial challenges, he remained steadfast in his artistic vision, refusing to compromise to commercial pressures. He was very happy when his canvas fetched 800 rupees. He would treat all his students. He would buy clothes and eat mutton meat. Once there was a vacancy in one of the departments of JJ, I think portrait class. He refused to apply for the post because he did not wish to copy the realistic figure. He stood by his principle that anything I draw will come from my imagination. I won't copy what I see before me. Such was the extent of his ascetic pursuit. Just an extension of this, Dadiba Pandol's portrayal of Gaitonde is very poignant. As Gaitonde's gallerist, he mentioned that there was never a single conflict during the entire business relationship with Gaitonde. He had no expectations, no demands, and he did not set any price for his work. He was very short and curt in his business matters. His paintings used to arrive at the gallery maybe 6 or maximum 8 in a year, and the gallery used to send him a monthly check. It was as if Gaitonde never cared about his past work. Let me again quote Gaitonde on this. He says, "I am interested only in the painting I have just finished and the one I am presently working on. I have nothing to do with the earlier works. It clutters up my space. Carrying them with me is a burden. They are over and done with. They are out of my system. I have no connection with them." As a painter, I cannot understand his aloofness from his own creation expressed through his lines. They are out of my system. I have no connection with them. His pursuit was indeed Zen. Vishwas Yande, who was a librarian at the JJ, was a close friend of Gaitonde. He had stated a very striking memory. Once he saw Gaitonde walking away carrying some 30-40 rolled up canvases. Yande asked him, where was he going with all those works? Gaitonde's reply was, "My show just got over. I will throw these away. Where is the place to keep all of them?" Thus, in a way, Gaitonde lived only in present. He did not wish to carry on the burden of the past, and yet, as I read the book, I noticed a striking paradox. Despite his desire to shed the burdens of the past, he carried the scars of his childhood bitterness throughout his life. Almost all acquaintances have shared stories about his troubled relationship with his father and the anger he felt towards his mother for not intervening. Maybe he became who he was because of those scars. Why was he consumed by his past? This question has always disturbed me. Dadiba also mentioned that Gaitonde never painted a single work for a patron or a commissioned work, so to say. Though he earned his living from his art, he painted only when he wanted and only what he wanted. Such enormously commendable values he had. It's not often that an artist's persona resonates with you as deeply as his artistic legacy. To me, he was just as awe-inspiring as his breathtaking spacescapes. I am delighted that we are honoring Gaitonde's contribution on the occasion of his birth centenary. I am grateful for your attendance as we celebrate the life and works of this legendary phenomena called Gaitonde. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You can really read many such anecdotes and personal stories through these 300 and odd pages. I'll once again appeal to you that please purchase this book and be a patron. I'm going to invite Padma Shri recipient Kumar Ketkar, who needs no introduction in Mumbai. He has been a veteran editor for over 5 decades and a politician. He served in Rajya Sabha from April 2018 to 2024. Am I right? Fondly, we call him an encyclopedia on various subjects, a testament to his lifelong commitment to scholarship. I'm very eager to know his thoughts on artistic culture during the Vallabhbhai Desai Renaissance period, if he can.
Well, to be honest, I am quite intimidated by the presence of great artists, art collectors, art lovers, and equally great enthusiasts and actual artists and art critics and lovers of art in the audience. I am intimidated also because I am not a formal art critic. I am not artist. I visited Jahangir Art Gallery frequently because I like to see the art. Many of my friends are artists, and mainly Satish Naik is my friend. That's why I'm here, mainly to celebrate my friendship with Satish. Satish is not only an artist and not only an editor of this completely different magazine called Chinna, whose title has been drawn by the calligrapher Achyut Palav, who is a friend of mine also. But he is not only an artist, but a fighter. Satish has fought many battles for art, about art. And those battles, some of them he won, some of them he did not, but he never got demoralized. He never was depressed. Even about Gaitonde Book, the first and the second one, he had to fight a lot, and that fight used to be within the community of artists or art critics. My point is that I knew Satish more as a friend, fighter, journalist, because I was a journalist. About Gaitonde, I came to know primarily from him. I had no occasion, I was not fortunate enough to know Gaitonde, but I was quite familiar with JJ School of Art. And primarily because JJ School of Art was a venue of J. Krishnamurthy's annual lectures. And J. Krishnamurthy's philosophy that influenced that entire campus in that atmosphere also influenced me. And I find I don't know what J. Krishnamurti or Gaitonde relationship was there or not, but I feel, after listening to Amol and other artists and critics, that the philosophy of J. Krishnamurti, if it can be called as such, is what is reflected in Gaitonde's works. Completely on his own, non-commercial, completely away from the celebrity world, away from the camera, away from all kinds of publicity. He just thought about his art, and he talked about, as Amol said, about his mind, about his creativity, unrelated to the rest of the world. I came here primarily to salute Satish Naik, because I know how much money he spent. He will not tell you about that. How much time he spent. Actually, much of the time that he could have devoted for his own artworks, he has devoted on Gaitonde. I came to know about Gaitonde's name only from the J.J. School of Art without knowing him directly. But I came to know about his greatness only when Times of India published on front page that is one painting was sold for some 25-26 crore rupees, and that made a headline. That's when I came to know more about Gaitonde, when I read about it. That time I also learned that Satish Naik has been working on Gaitonde project for more than 2 decades. And he was the first person to publish major work on Gaitonde in Marathi as well as in English. I am fortunate to know him, and through him, Gaitonde, the great man and the great artist, and that is why I am here. I do not claim a rightful place to be here in reality. So I will pay my tribute to Gaitonde and also tribute to Satish Naik and to all the people who spoke and all the people who appreciate Gaitonde and Satish Naik's works in the audience. Thank you very much.
I'm really glad that we're all here and recognizing Satish and Satish's relentless pursuit to realize his dream. I think a special mention of one name has to be made here, Milind Hardas. He is a protocol officer in the government of Maharashtra. He's an accomplished senior executive with 33 years of experience in policy making and government relations. We are hoping that with his help, this book can reach the global audience through the formal corridors of embassies, consulates, and cultural departments. Would you like to share your experience and your vision about this?
Well, I am a little nervous because after having such a wonderful speeches, I have a given chance to speak. All the respected luminaries on the dais and such a wonderful august gathering of art lovers. Actually, I'm a bit odd man, but surely art lover and recently become a huge fan of Gaitonde's work. I'm working in the government of Maharashtra, and luckily, I am dealing with all the consulate, all the foreign missions. There are 113 foreign missions, permanent foreign missions in Mumbai. I'm dealing with them. And so as rightly said, this can be an opportunity for me also to reach out to them with the Gaitonde's work. At the outset, I congratulate editor Satish Naik and his editorial team and express my deep sense of gratitude for such a gracious biographical tribute to India's foremost abstract painter, Gaitonde. Recently, I saw one interview of Satish Naik on YouTube and came to know his passion, his hard work, his efforts, and his happiness for creating such an amazing biographical work. Thank you, Satish ji. Gaitonde was a man of a few words, but his art spoke volumes. Known for his abstract verse that exuded a meditative, almost mystical quality, Gaitonde's journey was filled with the moments of excellence that defines his legacy. Gaitonde was not a kind of artist who enjoyed loud discussions or dramatic exhibitions. He was a quiet man, deeply engrossed in his work, believing that there is no such thing as abstract art. Everything comes from something. One day, a fellow artist asked him, Gaitonde, what are you thinking when you paint? He simply said, I don't think. I let the painting think for me. This philosophy made his work stand out. He wasn't just applying paint, he was allowing his soul to flow onto canvas. Every stroke had a purpose, every shade had a depth. His paintings weren't just to be seen, they were to be felt. At a time when the artists were chasing name, fame, and commercial success, Gaitonde was different. He once had an opportunity to create multiple paintings for a wealthy art collector, but Gaitonde refused and said, I paint when I feel, not when I am asked. He was an artist, admired, respected, and even feared for his uncompromising approach. He painted because he had something to express. That's why today his work are among the most expensive Indian paintings ever sold. Gaitonde never rushed, never compromised, and never explained too much. In his own words, everything that you want to say is already on the canvas. And that's the kind of excellence that never fades. Once again, I extend my congratulations to editor Satish Naik, convener Ketan Karani, and dear Udayraj Gadnis. He is not here, but because of him, I am here today. Thank you, and my best wishes to this biography. Thank you.
Thank you so much. On this occasion, we wish to felicitate a few friends of Chinna who have been with Chinna and Chinna's activities for all these years. They themselves are artists of great stature. Two of them have recently received Padma Shri awards. Let us welcome Shriyut Achyut Palav and Shriyut Vasudev Kamath. Please. We all know how great Vasudev Kamath is in terms of his work. And Achyut Palav, where is he? Oh, he's a great calligraphist. Let us, who is going to give? Come. Satish, can you please felicitate them? तुम्हाला बोलायचं 2 मिनिटं? Sure. We also wish to honor contributors to the book who are present with us today. They are also great artists of eminent stature. Shri Prabhakar Kolte, sir. Shri Satchitanand Dabholkar. Is he here? No, he's not there. Shri Narendra and Vidya Dengle. Are they here? Narendra and Vidya? Please. Shri Nitin Dadrawala. They all have contributed to this book. Come, पुढे या. आम्हा पुढे या. Let us give a round of applause. Come. या ना पुढे या. पुढे या. Narendra and Vidya Dengle. तुम्हाला काही बोलायचं? नितीन? थोडं पुढे जावा. नितीन दादरावाला. We also wish to recognize the strong support given by distinguished contributors to all the activities initiated by Chinna. Shri Dattatray Padekar. Ale? Is he there? Okay. Shri Anil Naik. All these sketches that you see all through the book are drawn by him. Mr. Naik? Is he there? Oh. And Shri Neil Daptardar? Is there? Neil. Let us also felicitate all these great speakers. Oh, Anilji, he's here. Shall we felicitate the speakers right now? Sure. Please bring one on one. But yes. Doctor Laud. Pheroza. Dr. Godrej. Dr. Doshi.
मला वाटतं आपल्या मराठी संस्कृतीमध्ये एक अगत्य किंवा औपचारिक अनौपचारिक जे काही आहे ते हे आहे. इथे बसलेले कुठलेही डिग्निटरीज आय गेस आर बियॉन्ड ऑल दिस रेकग्निशन, बट दिस इज जस्ट अ जेस्चर because the association with all of them is going to be forever. We are going to look forward for each one of you to be part of us, because you have been part of us all this while. One and all, everybody who is present here and who spoke so wonderfully, so elegantly, was for one man, and it is extremely difficult for all of us to understand. I think the way we acknowledge Lata Mangeshkar and her voice, it's the same way we are acknowledging Gaitonde and his existence. The whole existence that is encouraged not only by his philosophical thoughts and beliefs, it is mostly because of his paintings and the colors and the application. For the man who endlessly saw the seas and imbibed every single breath of his into the waters, once said to Hussein, when Hussein asked him and said that, Gaitonde, agar main tum hota, agar mi jar tujha jagi asto, तर मी जग उलट सुलट केलं असतं. And this man quietly says, मी तसं करणार नाही, कारण I am happy with what the world is like. That is an attitude, and I think it's phenomenally put up in right words. All the people who are there on the dais today have been extremely supportive. They've played magnificent role in compiling the whole structure that is today in the volume that we see today. Yes, as Amolji rightly said, the dialogue between Gaitonde and Nisargadatta Maharaj, which talks about between two mirrors, it's infinite.
Amolji. Yeah. Is there anyone else? Let us give a round of applause to welcome the editor of the book, Satish Naik. Come on. Amol, I would request Associate Editor, Dr. Manjiri Thakur, please. सगळ्यांना देऊन यायचं. नाही पण मंजिरी द्या ना द्या ना. Executive Editor Vinil. उघडून द्या त्यांना. कप. Vinil is there. And I think Milind ji needs to be. Yes, sure.
Sandhya, you'll have to leave the mic for 1 minute.
Yeah.
Because we'll be felicitating you as well.
There's no need, actually. I haven't done anything.
No, now that you have to leave to us. Thank you so much for being such a wonderful anchor today. Do you want to be felicitated by Amolji?
No.
May I request Satish Naik to
yes.
kindly felicitate Sandhya? Please.
Thank you so much. We're all thankful to all these special guests, all associates of Chinna, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Vastu Sangrahalaya, the museum, for making this grand venue available to us, all service providers, including the sound, the light, facilitators. Special thanks to Gaitonde's family members who could not be with us today. Finally, we extend our heartfelt gratitude to the art-loving audience who joined us in paying tribute to Gaitonde today. Thank you so much.
Satish. Sublime, from the heart. Thank you.
नीता डॉक्टरांना सोडायला सांगतो त्याला सांगतो
सगळे फोटो आणि